Fall camp practice notes. Let me just give you the shortened version.
Okay, hit us with that.
Georgia's defense might be the best in the nation if these guys continue to improve what they're doing. And no, I didn't stutter. Next on Locked On Bulldogs.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. Thanks to all the everydayers who are here. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel, FanDuel.com, the official sportsbook of the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. More on them in a moment. Clint, we're talking about fall camp because this just in, it's fall.
Okay.
And the Georgia Bulldogs are in camp, which means they're about to kick off the college football season. Like they're about to get out there on the field.
They are.
And dominate.
Yeah.
A Clemson Tigers football team in front of God and everybody at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Did you see that line change, by the way?
Oh, no. It's moving already?
Moving already, Daniel.
You get your money in on FanDuel yet? Or?
I got my money at 12 and a half.
Yeah, my man's got his money in already. Okay, he's not worried about a line move.
You move it all you want. I got 12 and a half.
No. He's got his money on FanDuel already. We're less than 3 weeks away from watching college football on our televisions. Michael, I said less than 3 weeks away from watching college football on our televisions. And there's some interesting things to discuss from fall camp. Some stuff on the offensive side of the ball, but a lot of things coming out on the defensive side of the ball. And I think we want to start with this defensive backs group, Clint, right? Because we alluded to some of the young guys yesterday. We talked about KJ Bolden. We talked about Ellis Robinson. Everybody knows about the youth at the position. But it's not the youth at the position that I think gives Georgia fans a lot of reasons to be excited. It's actually the experience at the position that has a lot of Georgia fans feeling like this could be a really special group in the defensive backfield. But what are the reports coming out of camp, Clint? What are we seeing? What are we hearing? What's the buzz around the Georgia football practice facility about how this defensive backs group is performing against an offense that we think is going to be pretty good?
Real dang good.
Oh, sorry, I misspoke.
No, not pretty good. One of the best 5 in the nation, as they have statistically been.
There she is.
For several years now.
There she is.
Look, here's the deal. Daniel and I have, again, been on record being very, very harsh on the cornerback group last year because this just in, they deserved it because it wasn't.
They didn't play well, but other than that, we would have been.
I would have been
out of line. Yeah,
would have been happy to say other things. Julian Humphrey, Daniel, and Dalen Everett. These are names that you and I know that we expect big things out of.
Yeah.
And I think so far, Everett has been a true lockdown corner in practice.
I thought it was very interesting that he was one of the first guys up speaking to the media. Like I thought that was I know, he played the most snaps last year of all the guys that are back, not named Kamari Laster, obviously. Of all the guys that are back, he played by far the most snaps last year. And so on the one hand, it makes sense. But there's a lot of guys on that defense that are back. You understand? Nazir Stackhouse is back. Warren Brinson is back. Ingram Dawkins is back. Smile Mondon is back. Like, there's Michael Williams is back. Yeah. Malachi Starks is back. There's a lot of guys on that defense that are back. Dalen Everett, one of the first guys speaking to the media. Listen, I'm not here to call my own shot, and we'll see what plays out on the field.
On this one, you go ahead.
Go ahead. I've been saying for months and months and months that I thought Dalen Everett was going to be really good, and I thought he was going to have a really big year this year. He was thrust into a very difficult position last year. He was playing opposite a guy that they never threw at. You understand? They never threw at Kamari Laster for good reason. They never went that way. So Dalen Everett was getting picked on left and right. He was getting exploited. Georgia does not flip its corners.
Nope.
Like, kind of notoriously, they're well known for doing that. Kirby Smart doesn't believe in it. He doesn't like getting guys out of position. He doesn't want guys to miss the snap. And so he leaves his corners where they are because he likes to play them wide and he likes to play them in press coverage. Everybody knows all that. He doesn't flip them around. And so often, Dalen Everett, the second best corner on the team, was matched up against the very best wide receiver on the team. And in some cases, like, I don't know, the Mizzou game,
wasn't great.
In Luther Burden. And so he got exploited last year. He got victimized, but he learned a lot on the job. And Kirby Smart never once wavered in his faith in him. And that should tell you everything that you need to know, because we've said it before. Tyson Campbell came in, played early in his freshman year, got smoked.
We were calling for him to be yanked out. We were at a couple of games where we thought, what is happening?
He turned out okay, Clint?
He turned just fine.
He turned out just fine. These things tend to happen when you're thrust into duty at corner young in your career. I like Dalen Everett a lot. He was put in a difficult position last year, and I think he's going to be a really good corner. There's a reason all those 5-star corners transferred, Clint. I don't want to get deep in the weeds here.
But we lost Dumas Johnson.
Yeah. Okay. But there was a run there of like 3 in a row, 3 5-star corners in a row. And I can't remember the names because they don't play for Georgia and I only know Georgia players' names. But they transferred out of the program, and Dalen Everett, the now rising junior Dalen Everett, playing for a NFL draft pick. This may be his last year in Athens, by the way.
Yep.
He didn't transfer anywhere.
No.
He said, I'm fine right here. There's a reason those guys are gone and he's here, and it ain't because Georgia and Kirby Smart are taking the leftovers. Like, that's not what they do in the defensive backfield.
No, they go for studs. And if you can't hack it because you're afraid of competition,
you go play quarterback at Nebraska.
That's what you do. But you cite all the other reasons. The reality is you're running scared because dudes have that dog in them at Georgia. And there's no other way around it. We're going to come back after this, talk about more practice notes, what we're hearing and seeing. But first, these. And these are, in fact, FanDuel. FanDuel's fantastic. Daniel, I love them. The season win totals. We cannot keep telling you this enough. We will have
next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Tune in if you like money. If you like money, come here and we will tell you how to go to FanDuel.com, the official sportsbook of the Locked On Bulldogs podcast, and make money. You bet on college football win totals. You look at the Heisman odds if you're a guy that likes to bet on the Heisman.
Sure.
There's, as Clint mentioned, there's a slew of week 0 and week 1 lines that are up on FanDuel right now. You may think, well, it's not college football season yet. Guess what? On FanDuel, it's college football season. FanDuel.com. You sign up for an account. They've got bonuses and boosts every single day this summer. And so you go there right now and you get all of your preseason Georgia action, college football action in now, so that by the time week 1 comes, you will be set to go. You won't be distracted with any of this other nonsense, and you can lock in on what you need to do. FanDuel.com, the official sportsbook partner of the Locked On Bulldogs podcast and Locked On podcasts everywhere.
My man out here is so excited about season win totals. He took over the ad read.
I'd take it over mid-ad read. I don't care. I was just mine. I want it.
We're talking more
locks. We're talking about locks again, Clint. It's been a long off season.
Y'all, I'm sorry.
I don't know what happened, but I apologize for it.
I'm sorry that we were ever the way we were before this, but we live for this stuff. This is just what it's all about. Hey, we're talking more practice notes. Daniel, we got the defensive back room that seems to be locked down dudes everywhere. But that's not all we're hearing out of camp. We're hearing a lot of news. Offensive is doing very, very well. I want to stick really quick, or I want to switch over to the offensive side before coming back to the defensive side.
Okay.
And
Well, the offense must stink because the defensive backs are getting a lot of interceptions. Carson Beck's throwing a lot of interceptions. He's probably not going to be very good this year, Clint. I hate to break it to you, but he's probably just not a good quarterback.
Arian Smith being hit long all over the field, running vertical, taking the lid off the defense that did pick Carson Beck off, but responded with long drives of big plays to Arian Smith.
This is where discipline comes into play, Clint. Because
fool me once.
I've been here before, Clint. I've told you before. I'm finished talking about how this is going to be Arian Smith's year until it's actually Arian Smith's year. I will only talk about Arian Smith's year in the past tense. That's the vow that I'm making to myself.
I like it.
And so a future tense conversation, not interested in that. But Arian Smith, it is interesting. Kirby was asked about him, right?
Yeah,
in the media availability a week or so ago, a couple weeks ago now, probably. And he said he was asked kind of about the disappointment, the injuries that, so like, well, he's had kind of a disappointing career because of the injuries. And Kirby said, "Who's disappointed?" I love when Kirby does this, by the way. Like you're done.
If you're a reporter and you continue asking questions the way the rest of the country asks questions of their head coach to Kirby Smart, you deserve all the smoke coming your way. You got to adapt, y'all.
You got to download the YouTube app and start watching these pressers ahead of time so you know what's coming. Like you just need to study up. Kirby says he's not disappointed. In fact, he says, here's what I know about Arian Smith. He's made a lot of big plays for the University of Georgia. Well, that's true.
That's true.
That is true. He's made a lot of big plays for the University of Georgia. Now, if he strings together a few of those big plays, Clint, let me just say this. Let me say this. He's the kind of guy.
Go ahead.
He can drop a few because the ones he catches are for 7. The ones he catches are old chunks of yards.
He could literally catch 20 balls this year and have 7 touchdowns out of those 20 balls.
Let me say this. If Arian Smith catches 20 balls this year, we're going to be on this podcast talking about what a ridiculously prolific season he had. If he catches more than a football a game this year for the University of Georgia, we're going to be gushing about how he might be our best wide receiver. He might be the best playmaker that's come through Georgia since McCole Hardman. Like that's going to be the words that are coming out of my mouth if he catches 20 balls this year.
Y'all just
it doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot.
Offense doing very well under Carson Beck.
Mm-hmm.
Roderick,
running backs. How about the running backs?
Roderick looking that dude. By the way, when we say 230 pounds,
he's strong, Clint.
He big. Oh, but you think he big mean he like a power back? Like he gonna come on the hole and try to just go ahead.
You think Ron Dane coming down that hole? No,
this ain't Wisconsin. Okay, a little different. This man's 230, but is light on his feet.
No, he knows how to move it.
Running in all manner of pass patterns, getting the ball from Carson Beck, scoring touchdowns. Long touchdown run reported by him on a pass from Carson Beck. But Daniel, Nate Frazier.
Yeah, this young man's already caught your eye.
He has me feeling some feels. Okay. Colby Young. It's Colby Young season, according to me.
Listen, Clint's been on this one. Okay. Clint's been on the Colby Young.
Yeah. I've been watching some film from, and no, I'm not going to put the film up here because we're talking like fans. For the love of all that is good, go on YouTube.
Watch your own film.
Colby Young. I've been watching the Colby Young film, and I'm here to tell you he's got a catch radius and exciting ability that we don't have in the wide receiver room before him.
Yep.
So I'm high on him. Nate Frazier, you want to talk about Roderick? You want to talk about Branson? You want to talk about Etienne? All fantastic. One is elusive. One is just a juggernaut. One is somebody that can do a lot of different things with a size skill
Mhm.
ratio that has speed. But then there's Nate Frazier who just says, "How about I get to my place faster than you can try to catch me all the time? Like you think you have me." And you
Yep.
don't. Reports out of camp is that this man is a ghost. He is King Boo Boo on skates.
Uh-oh.
And
He's back.
he's back. James Cook has made an appearance again. If
Mhm.
he is James Cook. Oh no.
Guys,
Oh no.
there's a lot of talent on this Georgia offense.
Uh-huh.
And the fact that the defense is actually playing so well against the most talented quarterback, not the best, but the most talented quarterback that Georgia has had since Matt Stafford is a telling thing. This offense is going to be very good, and there are a lot of weapons, none of which are named rah-rah, that are going to be at Georgia's disposal this year. We're going to get back to the defense for the third segment. We're going to talk about a few other notes of some defensive players, maybe in the front seven, making an impact in fall camp. But first, these.
These are, in fact, eBay Motors. Daniel and I love the cars that we have, and we do, in fact, enjoy older cars because they're easy to maintain with eBay Motors. Millions of parts for your MVP, your ride or die, performance, appearance, interior, exterior. It doesn't matter. eBay Motors has got you down whatever you need. Millions of parts for your MVP. Win every time with parts that fit your ride. You put the make, model, and year into your garage, and eBay will guarantee that your ride or die, that part fits it every single time. If not, they're going to take care of you. Money back guarantee, get you the right part, the right fit for your ride or die. That is only available for U.S. customers. Terms apply. eBay Motors, millions of parts for your MVP. Win every time with the parts to fit your ride. We talked about the defensive back. We talked about the running back room. We talked about Carson Beck a little bit. Now let's talk about the interior and the up front seven, the interior defensive line and the front seven on the defensive side for Georgia. Daniel,
Okay.
Ingram Dawkins is back playing and running through drills best to his ability.
This is great news.
Why is this such great news? Please inform the people. We're very high on Ingram Dawkins, y'all. Very high on him. Why is it so crucial that he's back running?
Quite high. When Kirby came out and gave the initial injury reports going into fall camp, if you notice, there were a lot of defensive linemen on that list. Now, he didn't seem too concerned about a lot of them, but Jordan Hall was on the list. Ingram Dawkins was on the list. Warren Brinson was on the list. There was a lot of defensive linemen on that list. And I wouldn't say Ingram Dawkins is particularly more important than any of those other guys that I mentioned, but I would say he's definitely equally important with any of those guys. I think he's due for a big year. He is a massive body. He is an experienced SEC defensive lineman.
Yes.
You cannot put a price on SEC trench warfare experience when you're going into what could potentially be a 15, 16, 17 game season that you could be looking at for the University of Georgia. And so depth of defensive linemen, I think, could be the most important thing the team could have moving forward. Obviously, options at quarterback, obviously, there's, you got to have skill talent. You got to have all these things. Depth at defensive line is going to be so crucial for going through a long season in the SEC. And a guy like Ingram Dawkins, who we have seen flash and make some incredibly significant and impressive plays in a Georgia uniform. We've seen that from him. A guy like him is going to be incredibly valuable, whether he starts, whether he comes off the bench, it doesn't matter. He's going to get a lot of snaps in this defensive rotation. And for him to be healthy, moving well, and showing himself to be a problem for this offensive line, which, by the way, is very good.
2 first-rounders on the offensive line.
Easy 2 first-rounders. 2 easy picking first-rounders. That's a significant boost for this Georgia football team, because I think what the defensive line rotation is and whether or not it can stay healthy, I actually think is one of the most interesting and important things to watch as a Georgia fan this year for the University of Georgia. It's not as sexy as how many, Carson Beck's
Mm.
Heisman odds or, how CJ Allen's doing at linebacker. Like, these are going to be the fun things for Georgia fans to follow and pay attention to. But what the defensive line rotation looks like and how healthy those guys are is what I'm going to be paying attention to as we get close to week 1 and as we move into the early part of the season.
This is, you said it perfectly right. I think Kirby knows this, which is why something that I'm paying special attention to. It doesn't get all the acclaim. The Texas losing their starting running back for the year is a hit on talent. But the other thing is, Daniel just mentioned, do you know how many games you got to slog through now in this season? The hockey line rotation that Kirby Smart does is saving this team. And
go ahead.
You may have hated that. You may have not liked that. You want to know who they are. You want your clear cut. We've said this before. Your clear cut black and white, first, second, third stringers. Here's who these guys are. They're always in. The running back's always in. The starter's the starter. He gets 30 carries a game. All of that is dead and gone. And I say, thank you, Kirby Smart.
Kirby doesn't care what you want.
Load management is crucial.
Yeah.
And losing your top running back to now depend on 2 other guys that don't have the same experience and skill level. Georgia has 3 guys deep right now and a 4th maybe that's emerging. Yeah. Defensive line, same thing. If you're telling me Christian Miller, Jarrett, Ingram Dawkins, Christian Miller, Nazir, Michael, and we're rotating through and we're fresh and we're healthy and load management is in the trenches in the SEC because, yes, that's where Kirby Smart wins. And if I get called Disney dog one more time by y'all, I'm coming for you. If you utter the phrase Disney dog, you're the problem.
Thunder and lightning.
Easy ways to trigger a Chili's manager to get me fighting in the parking lot.
Worst Chili's in America.
It was.
Worst Chili's in America.
But Kirby's great on this, Daniel.
It's true. And just to go back to your Frazier point from the previous segment, in previous years, you'd say like, oh, that's great that he's developing, but we got 3 running backs. You don't play 4 running backs. You just don't. You never see it. Like a 4th running back is garbage time. Like that's a Kirby death march, mop up duty against Tennessee Tech. That's when a 4th string running back gets in the game. Not necessarily in a 17 game season. I'm just here to tell you, if Georgia's got 4 backs that can go, and Georgia gets a 3 touchdown lead in the 3rd quarter, there ain't no reason you might not see a young pup come in early in a game.
Chauncey, same as Nate and Chauncey both.
Yeah, and get some run and take some load off that. You might see games this year. TN's got 5 carries, and Branson's got 4, and Roderick Robinson's got 6. And then a couple of other guys get in there and get some carries.
Ask me if I care about that. Hint.
What's the final score? Just check in with us on the post-game Saturday night overreaction show, and we'll let you know if we care. We'll be sure to let you know.
We will. Things get sideways. Be there for it. For fans, by fans. He is Daniel. I'm Clint. Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for being in for the first listen. The Everydayers, we love you guys. And we'll see you guys next time on Locked On Bulldogs.
See ya.